Are you aware of the limiting beliefs that hold you back in life? Because by becoming aware of them, awareness really is the first step in being able to change them. And so in this video I'm going to share with you the 8 most common limiting beliefs that can hold you back. And by becoming aware of whether these are the limiting beliefs that you suffer from, you'll be able to transform and change them into a more positive, helpful belief. For the best tips, tools and advice on how to manage your mindset for a calmer, happier and more confident life, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I release a new video every Friday. I'm Becca Teers, and in my work as a hypnotherapist and mindset management therapist, I've helped many people to really overcome limiting beliefs and to really thrive in their lives. And I've made this video to help you as well. And please do stay tuned right until the end, because I've got a special bonus for you, something that will really help you to feel more confident generally. So stay tuned right till the end. So first of all, I just want to explain a little bit about how limiting beliefs form and when they form. And normally they form when we're very young. Limiting beliefs really form in the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is there when we're very young, and the conscious mind, which is our rational, critical filter, if you like, doesn't develop until a bit later on. So when we're very young, our subconscious is open, it's like a sponge, and it really sort of picks up messages from our environment, from our parents, from our siblings, from our teachers, all of the people around us. So for an example, say if we're aware of our parents fighting and arguing when we're very young, we may pick up the limiting belief that people hurt each other, and that the world is a scary place. Or maybe a teacher says something to you, shouts at you when you're very young, or says something very sharply to you, and you then take that on as a limiting belief that maybe you're not clever enough, or maybe you're wrong in some way. And these limiting beliefs can stay in our subconscious until all the way through our lives, really, and we're not really aware of them because they're under the surface, but they can affect us until we actually become aware of them and look at them, and then we're able to challenge them and transform them. And in these 2 videos I talk more about reprogramming the subconscious and about creating new beliefs, so challenging our limiting beliefs and creating more positive ones. So watch these 2 videos and that will help you. But for now, I'm just going to talk about the 8 most common limiting beliefs, and let's see if you identify with any of these. So the first limiting belief that is, I would say, the most common one people suffer from is I am not enough. Now, we pick this up, this is never true, but we pick this up because as young children, the world revolves around us, and often, we come onto the planet as babies knowing that we're enough, knowing that we're lovable, but often events and things that happen in our lives, in our early lives, don't go as planned or don't go as we would like them to, and we turn it often in on ourselves. So often a child will decide that it's their fault that somebody bullies them, or it's their fault that their parents don't get on. All these different situations are just situations in the person's life, in the child's life, but often we turn it in on ourselves. And so I am not enough is one of the most common beliefs, that limiting beliefs that people suffer from. The next one, common limiting belief that people suffer from is what I want is not available to me. So other people can have what they want, but I can't have what I want. And this is a really common one. Maybe when we're children, we watch other people, maybe we don't feel that we're loved as much as we want to be loved, and we look at other children with their parents and see that we get the impression that they're more loved, or perhaps we're told, you can't have that, you can't do that, or in some way we're sort of stifled as children, and we start to believe, we can't have what we want, and that, we can go through life sabotaging ourselves, really, because we believe that we can't have success, or we can't have a loving relationship. So that one, I can't have what I want, other people can, but it's not available to me, is another common limiting belief that I come across a lot in my work with clients. The next one is I'm different and I don't fit in. I'm different and I can't connect. And this is such a common limiting belief, because we all come onto the planet with two needs, and those needs are needing to avoid rejection and to feel connected and accepted by others. And sometimes, we start to believe that we're different, we don't fit in, and it's a human basic need to fit in, and to, going back to tribal times, if you didn't fit in and didn't weren't one of the tribe, you'd stick out, and it was real survival. It was unsafe to be apart from the tribe. So it is human nature, and we are wired that way to really need to be accepted. And every person, every child fears being different and not fitting in. So that limiting belief that is so common in people actually makes us more connected to other people, because it's exactly what everybody else is worrying about. So that is a massively common limiting belief. I'm different and I don't fit in, and that means that I can't fit in, I can't connect. The fourth limiting belief, the most common one of the most common ones that I see with clients, is I'm powerless to change my situation, and I don't have any control, I can't do anything about it. And that is something that we pick up as kids, because as children, of course, we are powerless. We are directed by adults, and we don't have the choices and the control that we have as adults. But that limiting belief can stay in the subconscious. So for an example of where this comes from, this can come from something called learned helplessness. So say, for example, if a child is watching her parents fight and not get on, and for a child that's quite frightening and quite upsetting, and it can make a child feel quite unsafe. And so there's a real need for that child to think, I really need to help my parents to get on, I really need to do something about this. But of course, a child can't do anything about that. A child is helpless in that way. And so as a child, you learn that learned helplessness. But the problem is that it stays in the subconscious as a limiting belief. And obviously, as we get older, as we become adults, we can control things. We can move away from somebody that's hurting us, or we can do something about our situation. We have choices and we have control. But it's a bit like this analogy of the baby elephant. The elephant, when it's a baby, is chained to a sort of small stick in the ground and can't sort of move away from it. And it learns that it can't move away from this small stick in the ground. And as the elephant gets older and bigger and strong and powerful, it's still sort of tied to this stick in the ground. It actually still believes that it cannot move, that it can't get away from, escape from this rope and this stick in the ground. Actually, it could move a little bit and just pull it completely out of the ground, and it could move. It doesn't understand how powerful and strong It is, and that analogy is quite a good one for this limiting belief. You know, I don't have control, I can't change things, I'm powerless. So I come across that quite a lot as well with people. Now the next one is, it must be my fault, I'm wrong or bad in some way. And this gets picked up in a similar way to I'm not enough. You know, as children the world revolves around us, and so we're the centre of our world, and so if something happens, we blame ourselves. We often turn it in on ourselves. So Maya Hewett, in her book Meant for More, really describes this in quite a powerful way. So she talks about the fact that she lived on a farm, and her dad was sort of quite a rough sort of manly sort of guy that wasn't really in touch with his emotions really, and wanted to toughen his children up. And this one day, she was very little, and she used to love the animals on the farm. You know, they had chickens and they had different animals, and obviously, you know, they were being farmed to be eaten, but I think she wasn't really aware of that at the time. And she was always wanting to impress her dad and wanting love from her dad, you know, as little girls do. And she talks about the fact that I think she was about 6, and her dad called her and asked her to come outside with him, and she was all happy because, you know, normally it was her older sister that went with him, and so she was really happy about going outside. And he took her to where the chickens were, and she'd named the chickens. You know, she was really fond of them, and he asked her, which is your favourite chicken? And she pointed to one of the chickens. I can't remember the name of the chicken, but she pointed to one of the chickens, and he said, right, okay. So he went, picked up the chicken, and proceeded to say, right, well, we're having that one for dinner. And she said at that point, that actually experience shaped her whole life until she was aware of it. So at that point, she thought, oh no, you know, I shouldn't have pointed at the chicken, it's my fault, my poor chicken, pet chicken's going to get eaten, it's going to get killed. And she was mortified and hysterical, but of course her dad just, you know, sort of pushed it aside and carried on. But that belief, you know, something happens in our life and we decide that it's our fault. And of course that situation was never her fault, and it didn't mean she was wrong or bad, but as a child we don't have that conscious filter, you know, of the conscious mind yet at that age. So she made it mean that she was bad or wrong. And so you can see how this limiting belief going through life would affect us. You know, if we believe that we're wrong or bad in some way, we believe we're not worthy and deserving of good things, and so we put up with things in our life. Maybe we sabotage our success or our love in some way, or our happiness. So that one is a really common limiting belief. I'm wrong, it's my fault. So we all have limiting beliefs, and I'm just really curious about you. So comment in the boxes below if you want to just share if any of these limiting beliefs really ring true for you. Yeah, just comment in the boxes below. I'd love to hear from you, and let us know if any of those ones do, or you know, if any others that you can think of. And I'm just going to go through the next ones now. So the 6th limiting belief that I come across a lot is I'm not worthy and deserving of love, money or success. So it might be all 3, it might be one of them, it might be 2 of them, but I'm not worthy and deserving of these things. And so you can see also how this might limit you in your life. You know, you may push love away before you feel that the person's going to reject you. You may not go for what you want in your career because you don't believe that you're deserving to have success. Money as a whole another subject that I'm going to make a video about next, about limiting beliefs to do with money. But that is a whole subject on its own, very, very interesting, fascinating, the beliefs that we get around money. But yeah, that limiting belief, I'm not worthy and deserving of love, money or success, is a big one that I come across as well. Now the seventh limiting belief that I come across a lot is others will hold me back, or others will hurt me. So this is a limiting belief that's quite common and can really sort of stunt our happiness and our growth in life, because we just believe that others have that control over us. And of course, nobody really has control over you unless you let them. So really, you are a powerful adult, you are in control, whereas when you were a child you weren't, and adults did direct you and were responsible for you and did control you, but now, and maybe, also you have that experience when you're young that people have hurt you, and so you believe or have been jealous and held you back, or you've held yourself back because you've not wanted to be unpopular within a family environment or with your friends. So, there is a belief, there could be a belief there that, people will stop me, or people will hold me back. And that's really a real negative, powerful belief, because it can stop you from even trying, because you believe that there's no point. But again, that is totally not true, but you can see how this belief could also form from lots of different situations in your life, and you sort of believe that will continue throughout your life. So again, it's looking at this limiting belief and realising that nobody really has that control over you unless you let them, and that you are an adult, and you are powerful, and you can make choices for yourself that are good, and you can achieve what you want to achieve. Nobody can really stop you, just you. You're the only person that stops you. And the last one, number 8 of the most common limiting beliefs that people that hold people back, is if I love somebody, they'll reject me. So if I let down my guard and let somebody in, they're going to hurt me. Love hurts. So this one again, you can see how that would affect you in life. It's a bit similar to I'm not deserving of love, whereby somebody might sort of sabotage their relationships, and maybe, if you believe you're going to be rejected, maybe you're one of those people that rejects people first, or maybe there's just a fear that what's happened in the past will happen again. So if I let my guard down, it will hurt, I'll be rejected. So love equals rejection, and that's a real another common limiting belief that people struggle with until they look at it and realise that actually it's not true. You may have been rejected once or twice in your life. It doesn't mean that every time you let your guard down and allow yourself to get close to somebody that it's going to happen again. So that one's another powerful belief that we can change. So those are the most common limiting beliefs that hold people back in my experience with people, with clients. And so, if you can become aware of any of those, or become aware of your limiting beliefs, you can really change them. And in these 2 videos here, I talk about ways to be able to create beliefs on purpose and ways to reprogram your subconscious. So watch those 2 for once you've identified your limiting beliefs, to ways to really transform them into more helpful, positive beliefs, because they're not true. They're just thoughts that you've had and that you've sort of believed, but they're not true. So you can change them and transform them. So watch these 2 videos. And also, obviously hypnotherapy is something that I use with clients a lot, and it's a really powerful technique for reprogramming the subconscious mind at a deeper level and helping people to feel more confident and more self-assured and really boost self-esteem. So I've made a really powerful audio hypnosis MP3, which is all about instilling confidence, self-esteem and self-belief. So if you would like this audio, you can get your copy by clicking the link in the description below. So I'll pop it in the description below this video. So please do click the link to get your copy. So I hope that you liked this video and found it interesting and maybe identified some of those limiting beliefs for yourself. You know, that's the first stage. Awareness is the first stage, and then you can change and transform them. And if you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a like and consider subscribing to my channel, so that really supports my channel and gets these videos more widely seen, so that they can help more people. So please do subscribe too. So as I mentioned before, the next video I'm making is about limiting beliefs to do with wealth and money. So very, very interesting subject. So please do subscribe to be able to watch this video next week. And in the meantime, before I see you again, I just want to say thanks so much for watching, and I really appreciate you spending time with me. And until I see you in the next video, take good care.